Well, hello and welcome to me build of this matchbox carrier refuse collector number 38a. And these were nifty little wagons. They were only a very small wagon, and they were powered by a 2-stroke engine, so they had a very distinctive sound as well. These were before what they know as Revo Pack today, where the sides lifted up and they just emptied the bins into them. And here's what we're starting with. It's actually in not too bad condition, but I bought the decals and wanted to make it into a really nice condition one, because I'm gradually getting my display cabinet right, and I'm going to be putting them into it. It's just a bit of a test out, this video, for using green screen. Anyway, to start off, we're cutting off the axles, and spot me deliberate mistake on this one. I'm grinding and it's getting red hot. Jughead here thought they were metal wheels and they were plastic, and you'll probably see one drop off, and there we go, it's dropped off due to the heat over the crimped end. But that's easily remedied when I put it back on. At that point I'm looking and thinking, oh fucking hell. Anyway, here we go. On the rear one, where I decided it was probably a better course of action to grind the actual crimp off, because I'm going to be putting new axles on. But as I did that, I thought, no, you jughead, it'd have probably been better off putting a cutting disc on it. Anyway, by the by, it's done. And here we've got the Attacker paint set, and I've chosen out of it one of the greys, and here I'm dabbing a bit on and matching it up. You always remember with acrylics, they dry a tad darker than what they actually go on, so that is a little bit lighter, but when it dries it will be darker. And in a sec you'll see the result when it's dried off, because I'll leave it to dry. And here's the part where it's dried off, and as you can see there's very little difference between the two greys. So at this point it goes into the caustic bath of doom to strip the paint off. And as you can see, the paint flaps have lifted off the front and they're covering the windows there, so the paint were well and truly stripped. And on this I've decided to remove the central moulding line, the casting line, give it a smoother roof, and down the centre of the bin wagon thing. You've got to remember, on that casting, it's not all casting line. Some of it was a ridge down the middle of the truck where the doors were hinged onto. Excuse me, I'm eating Cadbury Dairy Milk with dime pieces in. And here I'm sanding to give a flatter surface, a better finish overall. And there I'm going in between the cab and the truck body. What that is, it's sticky backed sanding pads on a steel ruler, And here I'm going over with a sanding sponge, which is finer grit, to give a finer finish. And it's getting near to where I want to be there. And at this point, it goes into primer. I only give it a very quick layer of primer. It doesn't have to be thick in any way, shape or form. Unless it was a bad condition body and I used filler primer, then wet and dried it so it filled areas that were damaged. But that wasn't the case with this. It was pretty good because most of the paint had remained, it was just tatty. And to be fair, there's plenty of these remain that are in really good condition. And there's plenty of tatty ones for restorers, so a lot of people get onto us restorers and say, well, you should have left it as it was, and thing is, leave it as it is and it's worth pennies. And restore it, it's worth about the same. So which one would you rather have on your shelf? A tatty one or a restored one? I go for the restored one every time. And here I'm just putting the silver on. A lot of people, you know, put values on these where they think everything that has a matchbox, corgi or dinky marking on it is worth a fortune, which just isn't the case. I saw one clown that was advertising 4 matchbox super fast cars that were absolutely totaled, and he had 600 quid on them near enough. And you thought, you've seen a programme on telly where they sold 6 toy cars, probably rare, probably in immaculate condition, for £600, and he suddenly thinks what he has is worth £600. Anyway, here's a demonstration, a microset and microsol. Microset is the blue, and that goes on first when you're applying decals. The idea is it's really going onto a matte surface here, where ideally I should have sprayed a layer of gloss first, but I just went with what I had because it were a pretty flat surface, so I was risking it silvering. Ideally you should put a gloss coat on to stop it silvering, but I find these black square decals to be pretty good. And here I'm just getting it off the backing paper. As I say, I've put a layer of microset on, and the set helps you move it around, and it helps it actually stick into the body of the vehicle once it's dried. And it helps prevent silvering by ensuring there's no air gaps underneath. And it's a 2-part system really, microset and microsol. Here I'm having problems getting hold of the decal, and then what I do, I screw it up and double it over, so I have to actually go about it a slightly different way. But it gets done. There's no hard or fast rules to it. I usually end up moving in all different directions to get decals on. Here we are, I've turned it upside down because it weren't going where I wanted it to. I had to move it for the decal to go on correctly, and there we are. Pretty much correct. I'm just moving it for finer details now where it should be, because on this casting there's two moulded on marks for the ends of the decals for when it were in the factory. The girls had two marking marks to get it onto at each end of the decal, and here I'm just wicking out the moisture from behind the decal to make it sit down onto the surface. And here I think I'm putting microsol on there, which is the solvent, which actually makes it that it softens the decal, so aiding it to sit into every little nook and cranny that'll happen to be on the vehicle. In effect, it's giving the decal a painted on appearance. And I find this cracking stuff. It's probably more use for if you're model making, for model kits, because you have to get them to sit in panel lines and over rivets and over other mouldings where they were painted over on the real aircraft, tanks, etc. And there we go. For the next decal, I've put the micro set on again to aid it actually sitting down onto the vehicle. Aids getting rid of air that's trapped under the decal. And here we have the finished result, looking like it's been painted on both sides. And now we're ready for a clear coat, which it'll be getting any second now. We'll be coming in for the clear coat. And here we go, spraying some clear lacquer onto it, making it look a lot better, and giving it a nice shiny finish. Most of the time I'll spray over decals to protect them. It's all up to the individual's preference. You could have glossed it first, clear coated it, and then put the decal on after to give it a more factory appearance. But I prefer a bit of protection over the decal. But that certainly wouldn't have been how it were done at the factory. It'd have just been grey paint, a decal and no clear coat. It'd have just got gloss grey paint, decal, no clear coat, dried out and into the box. And here I've got two rivets for axles, so you just knock off the rivet, put a wheel on, put it through, put the wheel on the other side and cut the axle to length, cut the excess off, and then once the excess is cut off, you crimp it together in the vise, which will be shown in a sec. There I'm just getting a matching pair. I've got a matching pair, and here I've got one in the vise. I'm holding the pliers in the vise and turning the vise so it crushes the end of the axle and crimps it just with pliers, obviously taking care that you don't overdo it and you don't snap your handles on your pliers. And here we have the finished item, and still trying the green screen. Oh no, sorry. Here we have the before shot. Looking tatty and a bit worse for wear. Even though it is a decent example, it is still tatty and more the worse for wear. And ready for a quick restore. Because a lot of the stickers have survived, really. A lot of the factory ones. But any second now. Here we go. We're on to the restored version. And no chips in the paintwork, new decals. Looks a lot nicer. And the view behind it is of my local river in flood. And this area here, we used to swim in this area here. Weird, as kids we used to swim in the river here. In a second I'll show you the other side. Show you the other side of this bridge. And just off this bridge we used to stand on the railing there and jump in off the edge, and we jumped over the concrete base that were there that made the waterfall. It was, say, about 15 foot out from where the railing was, so you had to jump off and out to avoid landing on the concrete. What were we thinking? Because there you can see just the edge where it goes off the concrete, where the water's going over it. And there's some more near my old house where I used to live, but there we go. I'm just trying the green screen, and thank you for watching. Thank you to all my subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, come on, what's the matter? Get subscribed, you know you want to. Anyway, bye for now. Take care out there, and enjoy your Easter, folks. Bye for now.